Well, welcome. I invite you to find your spot. Let's all stand. Sing You Are the Lord. You are Lord. You're the famous one, famous one. Great is your name in all the earth. The heavens declare your glorious, glorious. Great is your fame beyond the earth. For all you've done and for all you've done, Lord, yet to do. With every breath, I'm praising you. Desire of nations and every heart, you are Lord our God. You are Lord our God, and you are Lord. You're the famous one, famous one. Great is your name in all the earth. The heavens declare your glorious, glorious. Great is your fame beyond the earth. In the morning star is shining through, and every eye is watching you. Revealed by nature and miracles, you are beautiful. You are beautiful. You are the Lord. You're the famous one, famous one. Great is your name in all the earth. The heavens declare your glorious, glorious. Great is your fame beyond the earth. You are the Lord, and you are Lord. The famous one, famous one. Great is your name in all the earth. The heavens declare your glorious, glorious. Great is your fame beyond the earth. Good morning. You may be seated. Good morning, Beryl.
Good morning. Welcome. We are the People Called Journey, disciples of Jesus, reaching out and spreading hope. And it is so wonderful to see so many of you here with us this morning. We have a few announcements, and then we've got a few special people that are going to come up and give you some extra special information about a couple of opportunities. So first thing that I want to remind everybody about is the ice cream social next Sunday at 4 o'clock. Next Sunday at 4 o'clock. And I have heard a rumor, and I looked briefly at the sign-up sheet. There's not enough ice cream. Right now, there's only enough for me and maybe Pastor Chad. So if you guys want ice cream, we probably need to have some more people sign up for some different flavors of ice cream as well. There is an administrative council also next Sunday, so eat some ice cream, eat enough so that you are too tired to get up right away, and we will start the administrative council while you sit and continue to enjoy your ice cream coma.
Can I make an announcement?
He was not on my list.
This just seemed like a perfect time to introduce a cookbook. There's bound to be an ice cream recipe in here, don't you think?
I'm
Yeah.
there is. We'll look.
So we just got word from New Hope Lutheran Church that they have discovered a couple of cases of these cookbooks up in the attic, and they've distributed one among their congregation, and they've made these available to you. All right, they're free. They're back there on the counter, on the table. If those all go, there's some more in the box there. And there's sure to be some wonderful recipes in this, and we encourage you to take it and just thank a New Hope folks when you see them. Sorry for the interruption.
Thank you. And I will be searching after church. So the next important announcement is going to be from Ms. Arthurine.
If you noticed in your bulletin, there's something new in there, and it's weekly prayer-focused Journey Youth Ministries. This came about as a result of Chad's messages on prayer over and over. And so the prayer group that meets on Tuesday mornings began to talk and question, how can we get the church, the whole church, praying for something that, we need to be focused on that particular week. And then it was, other people started saying, we need to do something like this. And so this is where it evolved from. And if I'll read what it has here. Ed wrote this up, but this is what we had talked about. A praying church prays for our impact on youth. And this week, our focus is on the youth, totally on the youth. Please pray this week for our youth leader, Jay Matthey, and his family. Support our youth ministry, chaperones, mentors, and teachers, weekly meetings, and youth meals. Pray for our young people and their friends, God's hedge of protection, their decisions, their families. God's calling on our lives and their walk with Jesus. If every one of us pray for the youth, I can't even imagine the impact it could possibly have. Our youth need to know that we support them, that we love them. Our prayer group meets on Tuesday mornings. I'll put in a plug at 9:30, and if any of you have been touched by God that you need to be part of that, please come join us. You can talk to Frankie Ward.
Okay, so we have baptisms coming up October 1st, and I thought I'd like to share a couple of videos that I took last September-ish. And because this is what I've heard a couple of folks that are going to not train for something that is somewhat uncomfortable. And it's my mind. I have this perspective about baptism because of where I've been able and privileged to walk. And so what I'm going to show to you in just a minute is the baptism of the oldest lady in
Now, for these baptisms to happen, I would remind you that they are in a desert. And so it's not like they can just go to the nearest mountain stream. And so these folks planned and sent folks into town and bought a large tarp. They dug a hole and they began pumping the water from their water well that they would drink and began filling this hole just so that they could have one day of baptism in the middle of the desert. And so I want you to see this is the oldest lady in the village. All right, look at the crowd. Now, what I want you to know about these folks is these are from multiple churches. 2 of them walked at least a day and a half to be there. This guy on the left is one of the leading pastors out there. Guy on the right is missionary that I've been going to see. I think you can stop it. So that's Randy Coates. He's a missionary. He's been out there for about 27 years. He's who I go and do missions with. And so when I talk about baptism, I get really, really excited. And October 1st, we'll be going to Pisgah. Ed Hosack was selecting the location slowly through his analytical brain, but it's going to happen. And there's one of 2, and he has to pick the right one. And so we support picking the right one. But this next video that I want you to see is pretty special. So you saw those folks. 2 of those were church groups, again, that walked through the day and then slept somewhere in the desert that night and continued walking just so that they could be there to be baptized. They walked 2 days through the desert to be baptized. Now, this next one, pause it just a second. So this next one, this guy going in the water is a witch doctor. They call him a diviner, someone who can divine spirits on the behalf of people or against other people. So this is a witch doctor who was present at every worship event or night that we had. He was present. He gave his heart to Jesus, and he wanted to be baptized. And so the pastors there told him he had to go burn his witch doctor stuff, and if he did that, then they would baptize him. So he brought all of his stuff to those pastors, and they burned it, and he slipped himself into the water of God's grace. And I want you to hear the crowd when he comes out. Go ahead. He's giddy. He has no idea. You hear him? All right, thanks, Anthony. They started singing and dancing, and then they started dancing around that little pit that we had dug for baptism. What I'm telling you is we take baptism too lightly. We think it's nothing. We think it's just a thing. But there's a real work of God's grace in the midst of that God does something, and it's important. And so for us to roll up to the mountains on October